All human beings are selfish, and we end up doing things that benefit us in some way.
There's always a fruit for every labor, but it's just that you're not thinking about the fruit. Energy is finite, there's only 24 hours. So what do you choose to do? Everything does not need your effort. Everything needs your presence. When I know this is good for today, do I feel satisfied? Yeah, I'm satisfied. Would I change something about this? Yes, I will. Because I don't think it's perfect. I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for expansiveness. From a space of expansiveness, then I just am. Don't care about being perfect because I will never be perfect.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. So when the resistance comes up, what do you think is that one thing that they should be doing?
Embrace the resistance. It's a part of you. Gently, slowly say, it's okay to feel this.
And what generally happens when people choose not to sit with their emotions?
Then we keep it away for us to sit with it another time.
There is a perception of who I am. And deep inside, I know I'm not 100% this. Either I go out and tell the world, I am not what you think I am, or I tell them I am in the journey of getting to that point. But this conflict is creating a lot of mental chaos.
The need to want to tell the people or let them know, let them see me for what I truly am, comes from an ego space because we're all bound by it.
Say that again. I come from this school of thought that all human beings are selfish and we end up doing things that benefit us in some way. Do you think even this process of doing something out of not wanting anything from it also is coming from a space that you're getting benefited by it in some way?
It depends on the perspective again.
Okay.
So I have this experience in Sadhana Forest where I'm close to the community. To be able to witness people who are able to do a lot of things for the community, and it's not so much about what I get in return, because when you see them work closely, you would really wonder what is it that you're gaining from it if you have to come from a gaining perspective. There is always something gained from everything that comes your way, but it's not so much about what is it that I am going to get in terms of material. What is it that is exactly going to come to me? But the gain that you have, that you actually get from doing something that you so truly love and selflessly when you do something, is more of a feeling. And you're not attached to an outcome. But there's always a fruit for everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's always a fruit for every labor. But it's just that you're not thinking about the fruit. But the fruit is not going to not be there. It is there, but you're not thinking about the fruit. So meaning it's there, but you don't think about it. That's what makes it selfless, in my perspective.
Okay, so you're not doing that action for the fruits of it. You're doing the action for just the joy of doing that action.
Exactly.
Okay.
If I have to let my hair be curly, then I don't care, right? Because I just know it flows.
Okay.
Because I've straightened it, now that's a responsibility. Coming again to what it is to be yourself, even in the smallest of ways, isn't it? I will still enjoy it, but it comes with an effort.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
But if I were to be wild, if you see another podcast of mine where I have my hair curly, I haven't even thought about it. I'm like flipping it back, front, back. It just is. I have no effort.
Right.
So then again, that's a framework we apply in our everyday life.
Right.
What is worth the effort? How am I feeling about it? Instead of thinking everything needs an effort. No, everything does not need effort.
Say that again. What is worth the effort?
What is worth the effort? Is this worth my effort? Instead of thinking everything needs my effort. Everything does not need your effort. Everything needs your presence. Some things need your effort because, I'm using something as simple as my hair today. I wanted to have the straight look. Okay? That's an effort for me. But if I were to come in my curly hair, there's no effort for me. You know, I'm just like scrunching and I just flip it back and that's just who I am. So it's about understanding what needs my effort. Everything does not. Understand what needs your effort. Ask yourself, does this need my effort? Yeah, this is the look I'm going for. I feel good about it. Put in the effort where it really matters. The rest of it only needs your presence. And in your presence, you create because you're in a state of flow.
And how do we differentiate between effort and presence?
Connection, deep connection with yourself.
Right.
When you are deeply connected with yourself, then you ask, okay, does this need my attention? Do I need to respond? Do I need to put in more effort? When you start to speak speaking to your self-talk is number one. How much are you speaking to yourself matters. It's so easy to get caught up in everything that's happening in the world. What's happening in the outer world? Forget the world. Our own outer world demands so much from us, right? I have to be this way. I have to show this way. There is this much I got to do. I have to show it. I have numbers. Then there is numbers. And then there is graph. And then there's performance. When we start to calculate everything and we forget what it is to not calculate and to just connect with yourself in the essence, like, how am I feeling right now? What do I want to do? What do I really feel like doing? Much more than giving. Because everything that we are doing is, if it's all spent, if all the energy is spent for the outer world, how much energy is left for the inner world? Because the time, it's not infinite, it's finite. Energy is finite. There's only 24 hours. So what do you choose to do with that, right? Everything comes, so all of that comes down to the deep connection that you are able to build yourself with yourself. This has nothing to do with perfection. I am so far from being perfect, and I've embodied it. Because if something is perfect, if this is perfect, you're not going to touch it. Are you going to touch it?
No.
Exactly. I want to be expansive. When I know this is good for today, do I feel satisfied? Yeah, I'm satisfied. Would I change something about this? Yes, I will. Because I don't think it's perfect. I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for expansiveness. From a space of expansiveness, then I just am. Don't care about being perfect, because I will never be perfect. And I don't choose to be, because it's an end. It's like an end.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. I've really not seen somebody speak about embracing, I wouldn't even call it imperfection, but just embracing who they are and still thriving to be better on an everyday basis. Right?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Wow, this is beautiful. Just one second.
Yeah, sure.
Now that we've spoken about effort and presence, right? For somebody to be in that presence, stillness is extremely important for them. Though stillness is so important for everybody to find the answers, because that is exactly where all the answers are. Why do you think a lot of people are very uncomfortable with stillness?
Stillness can be scary because the moment we are quiet and we feel like, oh, I have this time for me to dive in and ask myself, what do I really want? All the emotions start to come up. Because when you're quiet, that's why being alone is scary for a lot of people, because emotions are taking over the space. But we need to sit through it all for us to find the stillness. Stillness is not just me closing my eyes and saying, I'm not going to think about anything right now. I don't care about anything right now. It's just me. But what is me? Everything that I am, everything, my wholeness is my emotions. Everything that I'm feeling within me, all that is unresolved, what I haven't spoken about, that's all me. So it's all going to ebb. And I need to find the courage to sit with it, to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I've got to sit with. So stillness can be scary, yes, but we need to sit through everything that comes up.
And for somebody who understands this on an intellectual level, yes, I need to sit with myself, I need to process my emotions. I'm asking you this question because when I meet a lot of people who are also my clients, the thing that they say is, Gayathri, I know what you're saying that we are supposed to be doing, but when I do it, there's a lot of resistance that comes up. So when the resistance comes up, what do you think is that one thing that they should be doing?
Embrace the resistance. It's a part of you. It's like there are two forces inside of us, right? I feel this because I'm meant to feel it. But then I awaken another part of me to be so strong and to be resistance. Now I have two forces inside of me. So if I could embrace the resistance in a way where I don't need to resist something, I need to allow myself to feel it. So I'm feeding into that courage in me. Gently, slowly say, okay, it's okay to feel this. And then I'm not trying to shut it away. With the resistance, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to hold the door shut when the emotions are trying to come in. But the only way I could find stillness is when I open the door, let the emotions take me over and find that courage to sit through it and watch them pass. So I've got to allow myself to be a witness in that situation instead of saying, shut the door, put the lock on it. But it's going to eventually break open at some point. It has to break open. Otherwise, we haven't really lived our life. Have we?
And what generally happens when people choose not to sit with their emotions and they keep distracting themselves or running away from it?
Then we keep it away for us to sit with it another time. There is no escaping. There is no escape. That concept is something that our mind makes us believe because the mind wants us to be safe. So it gets you to believe it's okay. We don't have to think about it. There's no time to think about all your emotions right now. Get on. You have to perform. You have to show up as this best person. People are expecting so much from you. Yeah, I don't have the time for this. But if I don't choose to make that time by the end of the day, then what am I really doing in terms of my inner world? I'm not making time for my inner world. I'm making all the time for the outer world because I want my life to look perfect, productive. There are calculations I want to deal with. I want to meet, target, everything. What about the targets within? We're not accountable for the targets, right? Within? Because there are no targets. It's about just realization. Any amount of target, any goal that we set for the inner world is only limitations. When it comes to inner world, there are no goals. We have to just understand ourselves, no matter how much time it takes. So if I say, open the door, let the emotions take over, I am nobody to tell you it'll pass in 5 days, 10 days, 10 years. I can't say that. I'm a nobody in your life. I can simply give you the framework. It is up to you to see how you choose to sit with it, allow it, take you over, but find that presence to sit with yourself and say, okay, I'm meant to feel this. I'm going to allow myself to feel this. And then once you embrace it, because it's a part of you, right?
Yeah.
The entire life is designed for us to experience the things that we are experiencing. But if we build a resistance, then so allow it, embrace it, and then it can go away. Nobody can tell you the timeline. It just is. We have to allow it to happen.
At what point in time did this realization come to you?
I was 18 and my dad transitioned.
Okay.
That I feel like has been the biggest transformation in my life in terms of understanding life. But although at that time, I was still a baby, so close to my father. And it's almost as if when he left, it's like he planted a seed in me. And all my experiences and my choices, with all of that, I was watering the seed and allowed it to grow. And it's still growing. I don't know at which stage I'm at. It doesn't matter, but I know I'm growing. That thought has grown. And that seed really taught me that everything is impermanent. Everything is. Everyone is. Every situation is. No matter how hard we try, even if we have the most amazing time, it's going to come to an end. But the fact that deep down I know, I look at everything as if I know it's going to end, does not scare me. It allows me to enjoy this moment more because I know it's going to end. Because we can go two ways. It's like, you know how there are two choices in every situation, dharma and adharma. You choose. So there are perspectives in every situation.
Talk to me about dharma and adharma.
If you're in a situation where you feel like dharma is what is truly aligning with how you truly are and how you truly feel. Like for instance, I have a choice to get on a path. Let's say there is an opportunity that I have, and that is so close to how I feel. And then when I say adharma, it doesn't have to be negative. It simply is not in alignment with who I am, but it serves my purpose in the outer world. That way, let's say I take on a project which doesn't exactly align with me, and I would be honest, I've done that a few times.
Okay.
But we do it because, yeah, okay, it's going to help me with something. Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to do something. It's okay. Not everything am I looking at and saying, is this closely associated with everything I am? In the process of discovering myself, I take up, let's say, a campaign. A campaign. Do I resonate with it? Do I not resonate with it? It's not something that I thought at the beginning of my path. I do it because it's funding my dream. Okay, because I worked as a model. So it's easy for me to work as a model than think of, what should I really do here? That took me time to get to a point, and I'm still working on it to see which path must I really get on. And sometimes it is understanding this and that. What is it that really works for me? When I say adharma, it is not something that I'm going against or something that is wrong that I'm doing. It is just merely choosing something that isn't an entire alignment, but I feel like, yeah, okay, I'm learning. I'm leaning towards it because I'm learning something from it. That's just how I look at it, not like something right or wrong.
Okay, this question is not a part of this, but I really want to ask you this because this is something that's been bothering me for the last few days. I know who I am, okay? The only person who truly knows, I wouldn't say completely, but I know who I am. The world knows me as something, right? There is a perception of who I am. And deep inside, I know I'm not 100% this. I know I'm this. Either I go out and tell the world, I am not what you think I am, number one, or I tell them I am in the journey of getting to that point. But this conflict of knowing I'm not completely this is creating a lot of mental chaos. What do you think would be the reason for that?
There are two perspectives to why we do what we do, just in terms of what you had mentioned right now. One is very heart-based, where you're able to tell, this is me, it's where I'm at, I see the journey, but the need to want to tell the people or let them know, let them see me for what I truly am, comes from an ego space, because we're all bound by it. All of us are bound by it.
Say that again.
Like if I want, let's say, for instance, I have appeared in a certain way. There's a reason why I needed to explain certain things about myself.
Right.
That comes from a place of ego, because I just want you to know that part of me. You get it? It's not such an ego is not something so bad for us to think, oh, it's very ego. No, but we are living with that, isn't it? I'm not wearing a robe. I have not renounced. I have not given up on anything. I'm enjoying this world. I'm enjoying my life, which means I am definitely making some choices where I ask myself, this is what my ego is telling me to do, and this is how I feel from this space, wanting to look a certain way. What is that? How can that not be ego? So we don't need to look at ego as if, oh my God, ego is not the enemy, but we understand this is a human life, as in, if this is my human life, these are my experiences. If I could find that connection with myself, then I ask myself, okay, where is this coming from? And then again, dialing back to what I spoke at the beginning, we need to have a deep connection with ourselves to see, where is this coming from? Why is it so important that you need to know what I'm thinking, instead of me saying, you're allowed to think whatever you want to think about me. I don't feel the need to explain because you haven't even asked.
Yes.
So that's how we let that ego sometimes take over. And so deeper connection with self will get us to question, where is this coming from? Why is it so important that she needs to know about something that she hasn't even asked? I feel the need to explain something that I don't need to explain. I don't need to let anybody know this is where I'm at in life. It is up to me to understand. If I am able to see it, that's good enough. If you, let's say for some reason, not anybody judges me because of whatever choices I've made, they are allowed to, because that is their choice. They have a right to judge. But I have a choice to take it personally or not. It's a power. It's such a superpower to not take things personally, isn't it? Imagine if you just didn't take things personally. You're okay. You're like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I'm all right. It doesn't get to you.
So generally people have the need to over-explain themselves because they want to be perceived a specific way, and that's exactly why they're doing that.
Exactly. Otherwise, there is no need for us to want to explain ourselves, right? Why would I want to explain, especially if you haven't asked me something, and if I feel like, oh, I need to explain this to her because I want to be understood by you the way I want to be understood. I'm still trying to control your perspective or your perception of who I am. But if I could drop that, then it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to manipulate you. How does it feel when someone over-explains? You would want to say, it's okay, it's fine, right? We all want to hold that space for that person, because I've been there too. Maybe you've had an experience where you caught yourself explaining a little more, only because the other person matters, and it's okay. We don't have to be perfect. It's okay to over-explain yourself sometimes. It's about understanding, I did this. It is about awareness. I caught myself over-explaining. Okay. How do I deal with this the next time I meet myself in a situation like this? I actually don't want to over-explain. Fine, lesson learned. Now what do I do the next time? I don't need to beat myself because I over-explained one day. Nobody remembers all your story. People are busy with their lives. Just because I said something, I'm like, oh my God, I said this, I did this, I said this. No. What I would rather do is call myself out. If I behaved in a way that is not okay, let's say I'm in this setting, I'm with you. Within an hour, I've done something which I don't like. Instead of beating myself up about it, I would call you and say, hey, I feel like I did something that was not okay. You may not have noticed it, but I'm calling myself out. I'm humbling myself by making that call. I would rather put myself through that process and be done with it than marinate with what is she thinking? Did I do something wrong? Did it come across like this? This is not okay. I don't want to beat myself up about it. I would call myself out, come clean, face it, and that's done. The lesson is learned, isn't it?
Now, is the lesson learned just when you become aware of that, or do we have to really acknowledge the same thing to the other person? When is the lesson actually learned?
Lesson is learned only when I come into awareness.
And the need to clarify that with me?
That comes from expression. That is,
Okay.
let's say, if it is important to you, you're an important person. Me, I'm in a place where I feel like, okay, the awareness is kicked in. This is my lesson. Now, what is the next step I want to do? I feel like speaking to her about it would be important. It's something that she would appreciate. Now, I call you and tell you, hey, this is something that I did. I'm not sure how you feel about this. Maybe you didn't even care about it. Maybe that wasn't even something in your radar. You have a lot of other things. But if I were to come to you, two things are happening. One, I'm really tapping into my self-expression.
Wow.
Right?
Okay, yes.
Secondly, I'm humbling myself. In any given opportunity, allow yourself to be humble. This is what I tell myself. It's okay. I would rather be humble than try to say it's okay, it's already understood, it's okay, everybody knows. No. If it's humbling me, I'm gonna take it up on myself. It's okay. It's nice. It's pleasant to allow yourself to just not come from a place of, oh, I'm perfect. It's okay, this is understood, and it's okay, she's going to understand. And no, I would take an opportunity to allow myself to be humble, because we create opportunities for ourselves to feel so good about ourselves, right? Like if there is a space where I can feel good about something and talk about something, then I should also be able to create a space where I could be humble, say, hey, it's not what I had in mind, and I think it came across wrong. I'm really sorry about it, and maybe this is not how I would have wanted to handle it. And it doesn't matter. Even if the outcome doesn't matter. Let's say I come to you and I say, I'm feeling really bad about this. I'm really sorry about this. And let's say you start to project, because I don't know the outcome of that situation, right?
Right.
It could be anything. I should be willing to take that. Then again, it's it's never ending.
I know that. I mean, this truly requires layers and layers and layers of you going within and asking yourself, what is the root cause of me behaving a specific way, thinking a specific way, acting a specific way, performing a specific way, and then acknowledging all of them and being that.
Yeah.
Boy, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, in a world, right? Today morning, I was watching a video where Simon Sinek was talking about how comparison is the thief of all joy. That is number one. And it also resonates because a couple of days back, one of my community members had sent me a message saying, I'm doing all the modules, but I'm not doing it at the pace of other people. It makes me feel like I am like kind of lagging in the process. So in a world that is curated to just make us feel as to what next, how do we truly come back to ourselves, be in this presence, and be very comfortable with our own journey and our own pace? What do we do?
Right. So here's what I think, where, when it comes to comparison, this is what I would dial back to, honestly, just in my experience. Let's say we go to school, first day of school, first week of school. What do we think of? Oh my God, new friends. First day, of course, there's resistance. And then after the first week, you have new friends. You have new best friends, right? Now you're playing with them. You're having fun with them. You've shared my favorite color. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite animal? All of this has come into picture. You decide who you want to sit next to. You've decided your place in class. All of this has happened. One day, the teacher comes in front of all of you, all of us, to tell us, hey, now there's a test and we have a ranking system. Okay? There's 40 students in class. There is 40 ranks. Let's see what you're going to get. Who's going to get the first rank? Now, my best friend, I know her favorite color, favorite animal. I know what she loves. All of this, we've shared so much. We're thinking of what? Playing together and doing everything together. Now she's my competition. Whether I want it or not. I'm a kid. You are wiring my mind to believe my best friend in my school, in my class, with whom I'm in my full expression. I'm showing her my toys and my books and my stickers. Now she's my competition. Fine, let's do this, right? We have been wired to believe people around us are all our competitors instead of thinking they're all our inspiration, because all our journey, we all have unique journeys. No two journeys are alike. We may be doing similar things, but where have you come from? Where have I come from? What are my experiences? It's only when we truly get to understand the other person at a deeper level do we say, damn, she's not my competition. But at the same time, we can't really understand everyone's journey. We don't have that kind of time. So what is it that we need to focus on? This whole concept of comparison needs to be dissolved consciously over and over again. It doesn't just go away.
Okay.
Because we have been in school where we've been told you have to do better than your best friend. There's a ranking system, first rank, second rank. We've been handed out rank report cards in our class with the numbers, right? Then the person sitting next to you, you're not able to talk. You're blocked because the person is a second rank holder and you're in the 17th rank and you're like, I don't know how to talk to her now. There's a separation. Why? Because I've been told I need to do good to be better than her. We're all put in a little space and told we need to be better than each other. Now what's going to happen? If I've been told I need to be better than you, I'm going to focus on only being better than you, not being better than myself, what I am today.
Yeah.
So even if my capacity is that much, my focus is like this on you. I'm not thinking about all of my gifts. I'm focused on your gifts. There's a complete switch. My eyes on your gifts. How did she get that? What is it that I could do to have what she has? I'm losing myself in the bargain. I'm losing my foundation, my gifts. I'm burying my gifts because I don't care about my gifts. Because I want to have what you have. So I need to somehow acquire your gifts. So now I train myself to get good at what you're doing. Instead of sharpening my tools that are my gifts. Instead of working on the skill sets that I need for me to truly live my gifts, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why the comparison comes. It's been fed to us. So it's normal. Don't never beat yourself up about it, but really ask yourself, why do I need to be better? What is the need for me to have anything better than anybody? There is no need. It is only from a perspective. Chances are even people who are watching you from a space where they're in awe of you, and people who work closely with you, they may not know of what you're thinking of or how you see yourself in comparison with somebody else. So it really only exists here and not in real life. Yeah.
And for all the kids who've gone through this kind of a comparison, the first hit that happens for them is the hit on their self-worth.
Yeah.
Now when they grow up, we're all walking adults who are trying to just feel good on the inside, trying literally everything on the outside. How does one work on their self-worth?
First step is to truly understand and to come clean with how you feel about yourself. Like, this is what I did when I worked on my self-worth. I asked myself, okay, how do I truly feel about myself? Let's say in a moment, I don't feel so confident. I don't feel confident because I feel like I need to live up to a certain mark. Then I ask myself, what is this mark? Write it down. Who is this mark? Write that person's name down, right? Taking step by step into understanding exactly how I feel is what is going to help me. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a regime or a ritual. I need to understand, what do I first think of myself? Lack of self-worth is a basic understanding. Where do I feel this? Because if you see, around some people, your inner child is out.
Yes.
You're so playful, right?
Yes.
And you may really like this person. There are some people you will really like and are in awe of, but your inner child is not out. But you still like this person. There's no difference between these two people. You like both of them. But you ask yourself, how do I feel about myself? And that switching off, turning that perspective, right? From, oh, these two people, I love these two people. But hey, how do I feel about myself? How am I behaving when I'm with this person? Is what I need to pay attention to. And that's how I understand, who am I free with, who am I not free with.
Okay.
Right? Then it's kind of separates. And now I understand, there is something about this person. Now, let's say my inner child is out. I'm so comfortable. Now you become my safe space. Right? You're my inspiration and my safe space. Now what happens to me? I thrive when I'm around you.
True.
Let's say you're my inspiration, but I I want to be at my best. I want you to see me at my best. I will still thrive when I'm doing everything that you ask me to do.
But you're restricted.
I am restricted because I want to be how you want me to be, or how I think you want me to be, much more than how I really want to be.
Is that because you put the other person on a pedestal?
Yes, of course. We put people on pedestal. At least I have. I have put people on pedestals like crazy. I would build it. Handmade pedestal. Hard worked handmade pedestal I would build so easily. For me, I used to think that was a form of loving someone.
Okay.
I used to think that's my way of loving. It's like, I adore you. Here, get on top of this. Right? And then I worked on it because I caught myself. Because I have had some people tell me how they felt about me, especially when I have had some people tell me they've put me on a pedestal. That made me uncomfortable, because now when you say you put me on a pedestal, that means you somewhere are not equal with me. That means you're not yourself with me. That means whatever it is that we share, it is so constructed. You're not yourself. You cannot be yourself when you put somebody on a pedestal. I have never been myself.
That's true.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, of course, with my recent experiences and deep realizations, I consciously broke each pedestal down. I meet everybody eye to eye. Only out of love, not because of ego, not because, oh, you're amazing, I'm going to meet you there. No. I see you as another human with all of these achievements, and you inspire me. But I'm not going to put you up there to make myself small in any way, because it's not, then I will forever be left with, that's a misalignment, isn't it?
Yeah. When you're looking up to them, they're looking down on you energetically. So now, what do you think is the reason why we put people on pedestals?
One is because we want to be liked by them. Two, it is so easy to put people out there, and I want to be at my best self, and to become, the people pleasing traits come there, because I want to do all of this so you can like me. Because I like to be liked by you. No big ulterior motive. I just want to be liked by you. It's just a basic human. We don't need to look at all of this as, oh my God, these are wrong emotions. No, I have felt all of them. I don't think any of that is wrong. How else am I going to discover myself if I didn't have these challenges?
That's true.
If I'm like perfect, I will always meet you eye to eye. If I never built pedestal and learned how to break them down, build with my own hands, break them down with my own hands, I would have never understood all of this about life. Then I would just sound like a very privileged person. Oh, I never put people up on a pedestal. Oh, no, I've never had to break it down. I have no idea. No, I know what it feels like. So I've been through it. I've done the process of breaking it down. And so that is because I want to be liked. Or sometimes it's not even so much about wanting to be liked. It's just because I want to show you how important you are to me. I want to show you my love. How am I going to show you my love? I'm going to put you up on a pedestal.
Okay.
I will do things for you. I don't expect anything from you in return, but I will do things for you. Even when it comes from a space of, I don't expect anything from you, putting anybody up on a pedestal is unhealthy.
Do you really think when I say I'm going to put you on a pedestal because I really want you to love me and see me, I'm not going to expect anything out of you. Is that truly the truth, or is it a facade beneath which we're still expecting them to see us?
Yes. I want to be seen.
Okay.
I do want to be seen. Isn't that why I would want to put in all the effort? Yes. There are some times in my life I feel like I've put in a lot of effort, not so much about wanting to be seen. I can't exactly put my finger on if I want to be seen, but it was more about me wanting to express. It could also be a form of expression, right? Because that is what I've learned from my own self. To give you could be a form of expression. If I'm giving you something, that doesn't mean I necessarily need something from it.
Right.
Unless I reach a point where I feel like, oh, you're not seeing me. Now you're not giving me. Then I've reached a point where I realize, oh, I expected all of this when I did it. But what if I did everything I did for you only as a form of me realizing my capacity to give? Because this is how I chose to see my life. So I was able to understand my capacity in the giving. I gave you. You are a part of my journey for me to give you. That was the role you played. And I gave you like everything only to realize, that's my capacity. But your role is done. I've understood my capacity. but this is unhealthy. This cannot go on because it's not sustainable. You learn to give, and it's a learning. You don't only give, you also receive.
Yes.
Now, we don't always receive from the place where we give, because what we receive is a lesson. It doesn't have to be what we think we are receiving. Receiving is still happening. But what I'm receiving from giving you all of this is not what I want from you. What the design of life wants me to receive from this situation.
Okay.
Much more than what I want. If I say, I'll give you 10 hours of my time, at the end of it, you're going to give me a ticket to a movie. I'm just saying, so easy.
Got it.
But now at the end of it, you're not giving me, okay? Now all the 10 hours that I've put in my work, I'm thinking, oh, at the end of it, she's going to give it to me. But even if she doesn't give me, I don't care. But at the 10th hour, I want that ticket.
Right.
Now I realize, oh, I had an ulterior motive.
Right.
I get to understand about myself.
Yes.
Now you're not going to give it to me.
Yes.
But I'm still receiving something from this. What am I receiving?
A lesson of when to stop.
Exactly. No, one lesson of when to stop.
Okay.
One, to accept the flow, to let go. Letting go is a lesson here. I have to let go because I worked so hard for something you're going to give me by the end of the day. I don't receive it. Now my lesson is to let go. Okay? And then I have a choice. I have the power of choice. Do I want to continue putting in the 10 hours of work tomorrow, hoping you're going to give me something by the end of the day? That's a choice. Now I ask myself, do I want to do this? No. I will do it probably for some time. And then at some point I say, no, this is not what I want to do, but I've learned what I need to learn. So your role is done. Thank you. Now I'm able to let go with love because you played a role. I'm able to see that whole thing as you having played a role in me realizing something about myself or gaining something from this only because of the awareness.
Yeah.
And how does the awareness come? Deep work with self. Otherwise, I'm only looking at a small situation. I did this, you didn't do this. I did this, you didn't do this. So I decided to let go. Forget it. I don't want it anymore. But where does that come from? I don't forget you at all.
Yeah.
I will think of you so much.
All the time, yes.
You will be a part of my story. Oh, I did this, I did that, I did. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I did anymore. I have already gained something from it. If I'm not going to value my lessons that I learned from my situations, what am I really doing with all the lessons that everything that I receive does not have to be shiny material or something productive or, something material. In fact, every situation, even if it gives us something material, there is something deeper, right? There's a deeper sense of achievement, deeper sense of fulfillment. If someone gives you an award, that's great. You feel amazing. But let's say you're in a phase of your life where you don't feel amazing by yourself. You think that trophy can make up for it?
Nope.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Pictures will be great. Videos will be great. People appreciating you. Fantastic.
So true.
The number of people who would come to you, you will get bookings, you will get booked out. People want to be on your podcast. They want to be around you. Everything is a result of an acceptance of what has happened in the outer world. But what have I realized in the inner world? I'm so disconnected because I don't feel a sense of fulfillment. Why? So every situation gives us something to realize on the outside and within. So it is up to us to understand, there is something on the outside. What's happening on the inside? To consciously keep looking at the inner world and the outer world and not just get lost in the outer world.
I believe we've all been conditioned to believe that receiving is only in terms of something that is tangible or materialistic. But this 10 hours of putting in the effort and receiving a lesson is also receiving.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so profound.
Yeah.
When people start to look at life like this, then they don't feel like a loser at all. They know that every situation and every experience that they've had, they've given something and they've also received something.
Exactly.
And it's up to them to make a choice. So now let's come to the choice, right? So we all know what to choose, what is best for us. We still end up doing things that probably is playing out from the old patterns of living. So why is it so difficult for people to make the choice that they know they should be making?
When it comes to making a choice, we are able to see what is good for us. We're able to see what is probably not the best for us right now. But then let's say we're drawn to something that doesn't feel so right in terms of a structure. Okay? Now you ask yourself, okay, why am I drawn to this? There's a reason why you're drawn to everything.
Yes.
So what is the right choice and what is a bad choice? What is a good choice? What's a bad choice? How are we able to tell that? A good choice is we think, oh, this is a good choice because it's in alignment with everything that I have built in terms of, let's say, I was watching a movie yesterday about Life and Something Like It. Life and Something Like It?
No, I
Life
haven't.
or Something Like It, Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
So there's this part where she says this is her dream job, right? And there's a prophecy where there's a prophet who tells her that she's going to die on one particular day. And she says, no, but I have a dream job and am I going to get it? He says, you're not going to get the job and you're going to die. And so she's so broken by it. Now there's just in that 1 week, this is only 1 week apart, right? To the end of the movie and the end of the story. But in that 1 week, so many changes happen in her life. And she gets the dream job. She makes it there. She sits on that couch. It's about her interviewing someone. But then right after that, she gives up on it. Because there is so much that has happened in that 1 week where she has found deep connection to herself and experienced love where she realizes I need to make this choice, right? There are things that happen after that, but I'm only talking about that one part. You say, this is my dream. And you get there only to realize, is this what I really wanted? Yeah, maybe I wanted this then. If I have a certain dream, it's going to help me build a structure. A dream is going to help me build a structure. Now I have a structure. I'm working on it. Maybe the role of the dream that I have is only to help me build a structure. And in that structure, I find myself and I find a completely different path. We don't know now, is this choice good? Is this choice good? How do I know? So what's really important is connecting with yourself and asking, what do I really want to do? Let's say this choice seems good, this doesn't feel so good. But from whose perspective? To understand what I feel is where it begins. If I want to be the best person, I want to be right, I want to be known as someone who's making the right decision, chances are I may lose myself because it's not the best choice for me in terms of what I desire, but it feels right in terms of what the society says or in terms of what the world says. This is what you should do.
And talking about desires, right? What is the purpose of a desire?
Purpose of a desire is we're living a human life. What is life without a desire? If I don't desire to have a conversation with you like this, what am I going to do? I'm not going to work on my skill sets. I'm not going to work on anything. Desires are a form, desires, I look at it as markers that gets you from one place to another, not for you to lose yourself. You understand this is my desire, but not to get lost in it. Everything is a dance in life, isn't it? I love this, but I also need to learn where to stop. Just because I love something, if I'm going to lose myself in it, and then that becomes an addiction. And addiction is never healthy. Addiction is not a healthy. I was listening to a podcast yesterday where I heard there is no such thing called healthy addiction. It's either a healthy choice, it's an addictive choice. Addictions are not healthy in any way. But we use the word addiction so easily, just like desire. Ask yourself this is what I'm desiring. This is what I'd like to get to. Now, to get to your desire or your desired place or to acquire something that you love, what are the parts of you are willing to awaken? How aligned are you with your core values when you reach that state of desire? What am I slaying on my path to achieve? Would I do anything? No. I would like to make every choice that is in alignment of who I am to get closer to what I desire. One, I could believe I could have it if I'm close to how I feel, because there's a reason why I desire something. There's a reason why I desire it.
Right.
Or simply the desire is only a role for me to realizing and me becoming what I am. Chances are when I get close to it, I'm like,
Yes.
I don't even want it.
Yes.
I don't even know if this is what I wanted. So that, I think desire, everything plays a role. This entire life is orchestrated. Every moment is orchestrated for us to realize something about ourselves.
Yes.
So once we look at it that way, we're not blaming anybody. If you said something, did something, what am I learning from this? If I'm constantly turning every situation instead of pointing at somebody else or something else or a situation to myself, then I'm moving deeply into realizing things about myself. And I understand, That's why this role, that's why that situation, because I needed to see more of me, understand more of myself.
And in this journey, so how I have perceived and looked at my life is the ultimate goal of every human being is to realize that God and us are one. And all the desires are planted before that. They're just like directions, because the mind can understand desires and it can help us move through that. And in the process of getting to that point, we shed layers of us. We get closer to who we're destined to be. Now, in this talk, one thing that often comes up is a lot of people are shamed about having materialistic desires in the path of becoming more spiritual. How do you look at that?
Spiritual journey, as we look at it, is us being close to us. That's all our definitions are different. For me, it's about me being in alignment of who I am in the process of realizing who I am. And that includes everything that I'm desiring and everything that's a part of my life. Because there's a wholeness to spirituality, just in my personal perspective. For some people, it could be giving up on something and I have to let go of this to become this. Then that's your definition. It's how we choose to define is how we choose to live our life, isn't it? So if you having a certain business and making a certain number out of it is a part of your path, then it's very much a part of your journey and your spiritual journey, because that is who you truly desire to be. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to lose everything that you are to achieve it. Then again, you ask yourself, what am I going to lose in the bargain of me becoming this? Do I really want to become that? By giving up on certain parts of myself. Like, for instance, taking care of our body is a spiritual practice, right? Sitting and taking deep breaths. It may not be the same for everyone. We all have a different approach to our body, our mind, our emotional intelligence, how we choose to work on it every day on an everyday basis. Small practices. But it could be different for you and me, right?
Yeah.
What seems to take me closer to who I am is a spiritual practice to me.
Yes.
You may not resonate with the practice.
Right.
So just like that, everyone's journey is different. There are people who are creating such big things for us to experience in our lives. So we get to experience something out of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
When something large is built, like for instance, someone has a big goal of building a massive yoga studio. And this person is working day and night to work so hard because that's their dream. And let's say in the process, they don't have time to meditate. They don't have time to sit with themselves, but they are building this. That's their desire. That's their role. Who's actually benefiting from it? They are benefiting one part of it. Oh, I achieved this. But you and I walk into that spiritual place where we realize, oh my God, I'm so glad somebody built this for us to sit here and to meditate.
Yeah.
Now what's happening? They've played a role. Now we are playing a role of contributing to that. So we are giving and receiving. They are giving and receiving. Everything is going hand in hand. It's never just, I'm going to work so hard and give you this. No, you've gained something from it. Right? So that is their journey. That is their dharma. That's their spiritual journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we would call it a journey or a spiritual journey. When you're connected to yourself, then it feels like a spiritual journey. If you aren't, if you don't have to come across a spiritual person to be a spiritual person. It's about how closely connected you are with yourself, how kind you are to other people. If you see someone being kind to somebody or kind to an animal, and you see them being extremely loving, and they don't know anything about meditation, are you telling me this person's far from being a spiritual person? It's just a label, isn't it, by the end of the day? Oh,
Yes.
spiritual, I'm a spiritual person. It's just a label.
Yeah.
I could say I'm a spiritual person, but I could be far from it. Or I don't have to talk about it.
What do you think is the reason why most people are disconnected with who they are?
Distractions in the world. There's so much that is expected from us in the outer world that we forget that there is a part of us that waits to be awakened every day within us. So how much time are we willing to put in to understand who we are matters. And when we don't take that time, because we are justifying being busy, justification accepted. Yeah, okay, I'm able to understand. But you are the one not taking that time out to connect with yourself. And how does that feel for you? You know? And then it's your journey, because there is nobody who's testing.
Yeah.
But if you have to show up somewhere, people are asking, there are people to follow up. There are people taking attendance.
Yes.
But in the inner world, Nobody's taking attendance. You have to show up for yourself. And only you can tell and only you know. I could come and tell you I meditated for 1 hour a day. You can say, wow, that's amazing. You're so inspiring. But I could be lying. But I feel so good about just telling you. And I feel good because I've built this beautiful identity for myself. But no, I did not meditate today. I mean, I did today. I'm just saying for you. I did. But not for an hour. I did for like 10 minutes with cacao. That's my meditation today. But that's what I'm saying. If I'm so focused on building a life that is so good on the outside, I am using all my energy to build a life that looks fantastic. Now, what's happening to my inner world? Disconnected.
Yeah.
I'm disconnected because I don't have the time for the inner world. But really, everything that I'm building, I don't get to take anything with me. That's the cosmic joke. Everything that I'm doing on the outside is nothing. It's done. It could be gone. And to look back, or let's not even look at it as being gone. Let's say we're 85 years old, okay? We're sitting and chatting, and we're looking at our life when we were young and thriving and mobile, and to be able to do something. We're going to be mobile when we're 85, I'm just saying. Let's say we look at our life when we're young. Damn, I could have done this. And I have like all this money. There's this huge mansion I built. I have a house here and there. And I've acquired all of this. I'm just this old lady with houses here and there. What is my story? Yeah, I worked so hard and built this. Okay, that's great. But did you have fun? Did you have fun while you did everything that you did? Because when you look at a child, you see a child having fun, right?
Yeah.
A child is not thinking about, I have to become this. Yes, it will be there because they've been told to decide what you want to be and, dream of it. But if you're not having fun, what are we really doing in life? Then we're so disconnected. Play is so important in life. Everything is not just about being productive. What about presence? Presence does not necessarily have to look like it's something productive, but presence is productive in a world. I am sitting for myself, with myself is the most beautiful gift I can give myself. Without longing for somebody to fill the gap, fill the space, keep talking to me. No, I'm fine. I love my company. But that doesn't come from not sitting with myself. It's something that I've learned to do over a period of time. What about play? What about pleasure? We give up all of this because we think we only have to be productive. But being productive is such a construct for the outer world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the inner world, what's productive to you? You tell me, Gayathri. What's being productive to you for the inner world? Let's forget about everything on the outside.
Anything I do that puts me in a state of flow, I just love to be in that state.
So what puts you in a state of flow?
Very deep conversations. When I'm sitting down and introspecting about everything that's happening on the inside. And sometimes just doing nothing.
So that keeps you in a state of flow. That's beautiful. And that keeps you, when you're in a state of flow, you're so deeply connected to yourself.
That's true.
How much time do we take to do this? How often do we do this? That's where it comes down to that disconnection that you asked me earlier on. People feel disconnected because it takes work. If you know going to school, putting in the amount of time to study, to become something, everything needs effort. This needs effort too. Just closing my eyes for 10 minutes and saying, no, nothing happened. I didn't lose myself. I didn't see blank. I didn't see the light. Everything takes work. At the same time, when you're in a state of flow, it doesn't feel like effort.
Yes.
That's it. It is about understanding. There's a thin line. When it comes to inner work, it's effort or am I in a state of flow? Initially, it can feel like effort, but then damn, at some point you just like get into the juicy spot. And you could do it with anything. You could do it with a glass of water, for me personally, I love sitting with cacao. I think that's the most intimate time for me, especially when I share a cup of cacao with someone. It's so intimate for me. It's such a beautiful time to dive into that heart space and to have the clear conversation. So we need to figure that out. How do we figure that out when we are so stuck in the outer world? Now, then again, I understand people say it's easy for you to say, you have the time. I have kids. I go to work from morning to evening. I have to come back. I have to take care of the kids. I have to cook for my family. Fair. I understand. But then I will zoom out to the path of life. Then this is the only thing I have to offer to tell you that this is designed for you. If this is designed for you, you made these choices. You made a choice to take all the responsibilities that you have in life. It's your choice. No matter how much you say, they said this was good for me, it's still you who did it. That means ultimately it's your choice. You chose it. The moment you take responsibility for where you are in your life, then the way you look at the time completely changes. I chose this is what I would do. If I'm in a place where I feel like, oh my God, all of this happened, I can't believe I took this advice, I can't believe I did this, I can't believe they said this to me, and I got so trapped and I thought this was the right thing to do, and I find myself lost. The best way to gain grip of a situation is to say, but I chose it. This is all my choice. Everything is my choice. But let's say something really, really crazy happens. For me to say, then it is a part of the divine plan, which means it is still a part of my journey because I'm meant to realize something from this. See, if you're saying something really terrible happened, I can't tell you, you have to embrace your journey. I'm so disconnected from being empathetic.
Yeah.
But if I just hold space, and if you could really allow yourself to say, yeah, but this is meant to happen for me. There's something in it for me. So to constantly zoom in and out of a situation is so essential. Otherwise we get so stuck in such a small zone of thinking about the same thing, looking at the same thing, seeing the same people, replaying the same thing over and over again in our heads. Multiple, which we do have.
Yeah.
So we do over and over again. But then if you're able to zoom out and say, everything that's happened in my life has led me to where I am today, whether I like it or not. But it's designed to keep me here. Okay, I'm alive and I am here and I have the choice to take full responsibility and change my perspective about my journey. It's no more other people's decision. You could have made a decision for me and I have no choice to. Let's say you gave me this couch. I have no choice. I took the couch. But I'm going to learn to love this couch. I'm going to learn what is it that I can do on this couch that's best for my journey, because ultimately I believe this is the divine plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm not going to say, no, that's what I really want to know. This has come to me. This is in a flow. Maybe this is not what I wanted. But what is me? When I say I wanted, it comes from a limited perspective. But if this is a divine plan, then it's not limited. There's infinite possibilities what I can do from this couch. Then I'm going to see how I can tap into that.
Now, how do we differentiate between, okay, this is a part of the divine plan and I want to draw boundaries and I want to pick a different path? How do we differentiate between that?
Everything is a part of a divine plan. If I'm meant to do this is a plan that's orchestrated for me. But in that moment, I have a power of choice. That's also a part of divine plan, right?
Yeah.
The choice is, I've been given this and the tools. You got to do something in your life, right? The divine plan, the divine guidance is there. But hey, what are you doing? If the divine self has to take over everything, then we're not doing anything. But we got to play with the human mind. That's the play, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the world's a stage. What are we doing? What are we playing? How are we playing? So the tools have been given to you. Not necessarily. Sometimes we have to go acquire the tools, right? So with the tools that you have the power of choice. Make the choice. Let me see. Show your higher self what kind of choice you would make. Stay connected with the higher self and make a choice from that space. Then I'm responsible for the choice. I'm not going to say this is what God wanted. Yeah, this is the divine force flowing through me. It is still my choice. Or this is the force that's flowing through me and I have been guided. And I'm simply a vessel. However you choose to see it, as long as we're able to see that I'm entirely responsible for the situation.
And in this journey of understanding this, how crucial was yoga for you?
Huge. Yoga in terms of philosophy. The first time I remember my first philosophy class, I was sitting in Shivananda ashram. I couldn't speak to anybody right after that session. I was just staring at nothing.
This? Huh? When was this? How many years ago?
2018.
Okay.
In 2018, I was sitting in the ashram, and that was my first philosophy session. And I was left with more questions, and it's like there's a part of me that opened up. But I do remember I had this experience. I remember I was 14, and my brother has always read Swami Vivekananda's books. And I remember there was this one page he had taken a photocopy of, and I think he had left it for somebody. But I wanted to read something, and I didn't have a book, and I felt like just sitting with it and reading it because it was just one sheet. But I remember I read that. It felt like it was so familiar, but when I put that text away, I couldn't say a single word. But when I read it, there was a part of me that completely understood. But even that I'm able to say now. I could not put this in words then. I knew I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't understand what I was feeling. I remember right after reading that, I just stood in the balcony and just looked at everything. I don't know what I read in that. I can't pull up anything that I read in that, but I remember the feeling so clearly. And then later in understanding with all the expansion, I realized, that's how you remember things. That's how you remember things. That felt so familiar. When I put it away, I couldn't even talk about it, but yet it felt so familiar. And that's why we seek and constantly want to learn. That's what the philosophy class did. And then I learned to question. Later, I learned to question, why am I feeling like this? There is more to life. There's definitely more to life than that. Happened to me, of course, after my dad. I knew there was more to life, because if there wasn't more to life, where's my dad? I was not going to let go of it like that. There is space. There is something, and I needed to expand myself to feel his presence, which means I was allowing myself to expand beyond the physical realm to feel his presence, which means I needed to believe in magic. I needed to believe in miracles. I needed to believe in divine guidance, guardian angel. All of this was born out of that for me, that I'm so grateful for. I feel like he just gifted me all of this, He didn't leave me with, he didn't just leave me, because it's inevitable. It happens to all of us at some point. Somehow we don't talk about it. We're never ready for it, but it happens, We live as if we are here to accumulate, but then no.
So what happened after 2018?
I got so deep into understanding, started reading a lot about, I wouldn't exactly say philosophy, but I started listening to a lot of people to see their understanding, their take. I love listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah. It's just so awakening, because he puts it in simple words.
Yes.
I have to be honest there. Like when I read sometimes, it has felt a lot overwhelming for me, because I'm not able to understand the terms. I'm not able to, what does this mean? What does that mean? But then he breaks it down so simple that it just lands. And then I started doing the practice. I started doing the Blessings of the Energy Center. I think that truly, truly transformed. It created a huge shift for me in my life. And that was during my pandemic. And that one meditation that I did every single day made a huge difference for me. Yeah, so I kept diving deeper, and I'm still diving. The more deeper I go, I feel like I'm on the surface. I'm like, oh my God, there's
so much more.
There is so much more. And that's such a beautiful feeling, because you know that you're in it and you're so dedicated to, being curious. Yeah. What is there? What is more? What more can I learn from this? What more can I learn about myself? Because then you realize I'm nothing. What am I doing? Yeah.
Are there still days in your life where you kind of go out of alignment and you become aware of it?
Yes, of
and
course.
What do you do to get back?
Simple practices like taking deep breaths to truly understand how I feel. I love journaling. And when I say journaling, it's not, this is how I feel about today. One of the ways that I like to journal is, if I'm feeling something, I like to sit down and I open up my book and I just get into a state of flow, not to describe something, just write whatever comes to my mind. First, I need to understand what is hanging here, what's making me feel misaligned. I need to bring it down into this realm, to bring it into the physical life. Now I'm looking at it. What are the words I've written? Sometimes I just want to just doodle something, whatever it is that I feel like it's a form of expression. First, get it down, bring it down, anchor it down, so now I can understand it. Right? And then I bring it down and I sit with it and I say, how do I really feel? What do I really want to do? How do I feel about this? Now I begin to question myself. Then I say, all I need is something so small. Sometimes it could be something as simple as me just getting on the mat and doing a one juicy 60-minute flow. And I feel so good. Or maybe it's just yoga nidra. But movement has such a beautiful connection to how we truly feel within. Even though it's easy to ignore movement and say, it's okay, I will just do this and I feel good about myself. Human body is designed in a way for us to move. And in moving, we realize so much about ourselves. How? One, in terms of feel-good hormones. When I feel good, I'm in a good state. What do I do when I'm in a good state? I'm able to show up in my best self. When I'm in my best self, I'm in a state of flow. Everything is so deeply connected. There's nothing we're meant to ignore. So when I feel misaligned, I move. That is the first thing that I do. I move in terms of my emotions, move the emotions out, bring it down, get up and move my body. There needs to be movement. That's step one.
Pradaini, what do you think is the purpose of your life?
Purpose. Living in alignment with self. Purpose does not necessarily have to be purpose. In other words, dharma, right? It does not have to be something that I can say, oh, this is my purpose of life. Today, I'm a dynamic being, just like you, right? Just like all of us. Today, I may feel this is my purpose. Tomorrow, I feel like, oh my God, this is what I'm called to do. What if that is just how I feel? But am I in alignment? Because when I have my core values set, when I'm in alignment of who I am and how I feel, then I'm acting accordance to a certain system within me. And then I allow it to guide me. So for me, it's more than this is my purpose in terms of label. Purpose is living in alignment of who I am and how I truly feel.
And in this journey, when you have to say a no or draw boundaries, how do you do that?
It's such an important part of our journey. Because it's like the divine feminine essence. It's like my presence and my love, and I have all of this, and I'm able to hold space for you, speak so gently. But it's not just that. It's also by you being a badass when you need to be. When you need to say no, you just have to say no. You have a choice to be kind when you say it. And that's a practice again. It comes from the core values. I want to say no, but sometimes you just have to be like, no, assertive. Say, hey, this is not working out for me. This is not something that's going to work for me. I'm not okay with this. Saying yes to everything doesn't mean we are in our divine feminine essence. That simply means we know what is a yes and what is no for us, and understanding, this is a yes, this feels no for me. Now, I have a choice as to how I want to tell you. Then I will decide that.
And explain to me what exactly divine feminine means.
Right. For me, again, the definition differs. Just in my perspective, it is for me being in my full expression is me tapping into my divine feminine essence. Meaning, me sitting like this. Something as you sitting like this. You're in your essence because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're not thinking, oh, this is a podcast, I have to sit a certain way. All of this comes down to that. Me choosing to wear what I want to wear, not because this is my identity, this is how I want to show up. Everything comes down to expression, full expression. Me stepping into my fullness is me being in touch with my divine feminine essence. At the same time, it's not just me being soft, it's also me being a badass when I need to be. Saying no, drawing a boundary, right? You can draw boundaries from a space of kindness and compassion. Boundaries, I know it sounds like, oh, heavy boundaries, but make them loving boundaries. I would love to do this with you. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to say no to this one. Not me expecting you to understand, hey, you know this is not something that I can do. I hope you can understand this. There are so many ways to say this. Everything comes down to a choice. How do I want to articulate it? Where do I speak from? But my essence is my expression. I'm going to say this to you. How do I say it? Again, that's a choice again.
Yeah.
That comes with practice.
And what is that one truth about you that you were kind of afraid to own, but now you're very comfortable with that?
I feel like me. There's one thing I realized about myself over a period of time is I make almost all my choices based off of freedom. How free do I really feel in every choice? And I feel like sometimes I've made a choice out of habit, or I have made choices based on what felt right. but still not me being in my
Free,
fullness,
yeah.
being free.
Mm.
And I have understood my truth is my freedom. And it doesn't have to be, I cannot define it any further than this. It's just how I feel. I feel free. This is my presence, and this is just where I'm at. It took me time to make choices, to maneuver through it, to understand, this is where I'm making my choices from. I may as well stay aligned to it. I may as well just speak it. I may as well express it. So you know where I come from. I don't need to try to fit in. I'll say, hey, this is just where I'm from. You accept me? It's great. You don't accept me? I'm going to accept the fact that you don't, and I'm okay with that because it sets me free. So that is something that I have understood over a period of time into me being and becoming.
And in this journey, I'm sure intuition has played a crucial role, right? But sometimes it's extremely difficult for us to differentiate the fear and intuition. And how do you do that?
So when I'm scared, I'm just scared, right? If I'm scared of something, I used to be scared of a lot of things. First, I admit I'm scared. Admitting removes a lot of resistance, right? So now I'm not trying to mask it. So now I admit it. When I admit I'm scared of doing something, then I ask myself, is this something that I really want to do? Should I go with it? Because intuition feels like it's so subtle, right? It doesn't say, go this way. It's almost like, go this way. And it's done, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, did you say that? Did I hear you say that? Then it comes with trust. Then I start to trust. I need to trust that voice within me. If I heard it once, I'm going to allow myself to trust it. Because it's a choice. Now again, it's a choice. I can't blame anybody. Which voice within me will I blame for saying, do this? Did you say it? No, I'm not sure if I heard you say that. Now I discuss it with 4 or 5 different people with completely different mindset. And I've taken on their emotion, understanding their decision. I've forgotten my intuitive voice. Some decisions, it's nice when we sit with how we feel. First, understand, bring it down. Everything needs to be brought down. Bring it, anchor it down. Don't let it linger here because we forget it. Because we're designed to let a thought or something that comes, we're designed to let it wander away. A beautiful idea. If we don't anchor it, what happens? It was an idea.
Yeah.
Are we going to feel so proud of, I had the same idea. Okay, great. What do you want us to do about it? Because you didn't do anything about your idea, right? So bring everything to anchor everything down. If it felt intuitive, just write it down. I felt like this is what's going to happen, but I'm open to it. Then I trust. I tap into that trust. It's like, I'm just going to allow myself to free fall into that thought that I believe I heard. And at the same time, I am scared, yes, but I'm going to allow myself to trust and go with trust. Nobody can guarantee you anything. No, there is no guarantee. I know when I'm free falling, there is no guarantee. Skydiving, have you done skydiving?
No.
Free fall, no guarantee. What is the point of me being scared at that point? At that point, I just remember taking a deep breath and saying, let go, I'm here already, right? That's trust. I could jump with that full resistance, or I could just free fall. The outcome is the same. I have no control over the outcome.
And in this journey of finding yourself, right? Have you ever felt burnout or identity loss just so that you wanted to be visible?
Yes, I have. I went through a phase where I judged myself so hard. Oh my God. Like, it was crazy how I judged myself. So there was this phase where I used to be able to pull out my phone and share. No script, nothing. I would just share what I felt. And at that point, I had no concept of anxiety. No concept. That is not even in my head. Like, I've never thought about, am I scared? No, I just take it up. I would just pull out my phone and speak. Hey guys, this is what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling. And I do know actually around I felt like I got myself into a zone where I thought I needed to present everything a certain way, and I wasn't doing that. I judged my voice. And because I went through that phase, I got a huge block. I stopped speaking. I stopped doing such videos. I just said, okay, maybe, and I justified it in so many different ways. I said, maybe I'm meant to do different things. Maybe I'm meant to learn more things. Maybe I'm meant to articulate it. But at this point, I don't care about articulation. I care about speaking from my heart and speaking what I feel. I don't care about making mistakes. I make mistakes. I make mistakes. Mistakes make me. There's a wholeness to it.
I want to understand, what is your definition of meditation?
Beautiful. Let's see. This. There is no definition to meditation, really. It isn't even a meditation that I conquer. When I sit down, I get into a state that allows me to connect with everything that's around and everything that's within. So which means I'm not trying so hard to sit in a place where there is no sound, or there should only be nature and no thoughts in my head. No, everything is a part of my journey and part of my life. If I'm able to sit and hold space for everything outside and everything inside, then what doesn't serve me withers away. It's almost as if it's not noisy anymore. That is me getting into a state of, a deep meditation for me.
And you also wake up really early, right? 4 in the
Yeah.
morning. I mean, is there any significance towards that?
I used to wake up at 4. I don't
Okay.
wake up at 4 anymore. I wake up at around 5:30ish. But I can't tell how I felt when I used to wake up at 4. The energy was completely different. I felt like a superhuman. Not in an egoistic way,
I
but
get it.
just in my capacity to do things during the day was phenomenal. My capacity to absorb and to stay committed to, let's say, a flow that I built for the day was fantastic. And the way that I felt emotionally, my inner world was thriving. There is something about waking up at 4 a.m. I don't do it right now. With the kind of flow that I have in my life, that I have built for myself in life, I'm okay waking up at 5:30. 5 is still my favorite. But there's something about 4. It's a whole different switch. The energy is different at that time. I feel like the world is so calm. Nobody's awake. I can't say nobody's awake, but you're not coming in terms of direct connection to anybody who's loud or awake, or nothing happening. You're not reacting to anybody or anything. And if you don't look at your phone and see what's happening anywhere else, it's just you. There's darkness, and there's going to be sunrise soon. But the calmness at that time is great. It's not just great, it's beyond. That's been my experience with 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is fantastic. There's something about it. And I know there's a part of me that wants to tap into it. But if I'm waking up at 4, I'm in bed at 9.
Okay.
So, which means I begin to unwind at 7:30.
Okay, what is unwinding? What do you do?
Like towards the end of the day, I'm not going to continue editing. Definitely not unwinding with editing. So I'll have to stop that. And I love editing videos. So that's like my favorite thing to do around sunset after my cacao and do my reflection and everything. I love sitting down to edit or watch something. And so if I begin to unwind, let's say 7:30, let's say even 8. If I'm in bed 1 hour prior, I would take a shower and read a book, do a little bit of my night rituals, whatever it is that feels at that moment. It was a little bit of journaling and saying a few affirmations and going to sleep, reading a book and going to sleep, just a little bit. Because the moment I open my book, I got conditioned in school. I open my book, I'm out. So if I'm laying down, open my book, that is still intact. I would fall asleep.
What does your morning routine look like?
Right now? First thing is I pray. And there is this sense of, wow, it's another day, another opportunity to be the best that I can be today, to stretch my abilities, to test, to go through the tests and see how I rise. So much that can happen today. But when we wake up, I feel like there's that opportunity for us to dive in. So praying is like that wholeness for me. It's like I tap into different parts of my ability, and my prayer goes on for like talking about physical and mental, emotional. And then there's that total surrender and say, oh, I'm ready for the best day ever. I have to say this out loud every day. because I've woken up. It's a new day. It's not an extension of yesterday. It's a brand new gift. So I wake up with that intention every single day, regardless of whether I'm productive or not. On my best day ever, I could have the most unproductive day in one perspective. I could just be lazy. Yeah, I forgive myself quickly. It's okay. I'm allowed to have those days. But when I wake up, I always wake up with this like, whew, let's go. Like, let's get it. This is the best day. Maybe even do nothing that day, but I'm okay with it. But that's my mindset when I wake up.
Do you feel guilty about doing something or not doing something in this entire journey?
No, I don't feel guilty. I feel like everything that I've done is everything that I'm meant to do. Everything that I didn't is everything that I'm not meant to do. Because I believe in the divine plan. I'm not the one in control. There is a divine plan. But I'm not justifying my abilities and capabilities. I understand, okay, if this is my gift and if I haven't acted upon it, I'm not going to be guilty. Because where does guilt take us? Where is it going to take me? Make me better today? No. It's draining me of my creative energy. Then I'm not in a space to create anymore because the guilt has already like taken my energy. Now, how do I allow myself to be creative? But if I could recognize, let's say this is something that I could have done. Again, there's a choice. I could go one way or another. I could go down the path of, I feel so bad. I wasted so much of my time in something. Of course, I've had such thoughts come up, but then it's about what I'm feeding. I don't feed those thoughts. Thoughts come up. It's not like my mind is like, it's not going to present those thoughts. Yes, it's put on the table. But what do I do with those thoughts is the next step. Right? I said, no, I trust the path. I trust the divine flow. How could I question what has already happened? But what I should be questioning is, what are my capabilities? What do I learn from this? How could I make my changes today? What is it that I could do today that could change my perspective? So I don't feel bad for what has happened, but I'm able to include it as a part of my journey and do what is best for me. Use the energy. You can use the energy to feel bad or create something. Where are we using the energy? Use the energy for creation much more than that's wasting energy, right? Thinking about, diving into, oh my God, I don't know, why did I do that? It's a choice again. Everything is a choice.
When did you start modeling?
So I used to be a flight attendant. And just before I became a flight attendant, I've done a couple of assignments. But then flying was my dream, the desire.
Okay.
I wanted to be a flight attendant. I wanted to be in that uniform. And I did that. And right after that, I remember when I quit flying, it was such an impulsive decision. I had nothing to bank on. I was not an established model at that time. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was so excited. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I knew I needed to trust, and I just had to jump into that decision. But I had nothing to bank on. It didn't matter at all. So I quit flying. For about 2 months, I was just meditating. I was just going to temple and just sitting. I had so much time. I had a bicycle with me, and there was a temple nearby. I would just go there, sit and meditate every day. And I just loved that calmness and no schedule. There's no, we have a flight tomorrow. Because I knew that was complete. I didn't quit because I was tired. I quit because it felt complete. An experience when it's only when we push beyond our ability, we get to a point where we've hit that, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But I believe sometimes you must allow yourself to find that completion without the next thing in front of you. So I allowed myself to feel complete and I stepped out of it. For about a couple of months, I wasn't doing anything. I had no portfolio because portfolios were quite expensive. And I didn't feel the need to want to. I just thought, if I'm meant to become a model, it'll happen. It happened. I didn't do a portfolio. I did not send it out to people. I became a model word of mouth.
Okay.
So there is a possibility also, right? Like I met a couple of people and then they asked me to come. My first assignment. Do you want to know what happened in my first?
Yes.
So for my first photo shoot, they asked me for a portfolio. Of course, like I said, I did not have a portfolio. So they said, ask her to show up. Now, I don't know how to show up as a model.
Okay.
people see potential in me. I'm banking on what people are seeing. They said, you can be a model. You should come. Have you tried modeling? No, that's how I was called. I was sitting in a random exhibition and making announcements. Please visit stall number. And then, Shobha and Vidya. Have you heard of Shobha and Vidya?
No.
They used to conduct Miss Chennai.
Okay.
They're sisters and they're amazing. So one of them walked up to me and said, would you like to be a model? I didn't want to say no, because who wants to say no to that? But I had no energy in me to say, like, no courage in me to say yes. Why would I say yes? It's huge. So I just smiled, an awkward smile. I'm not going to say yes. She said, come and meet me. So they got me onto the ramp. I started my ramp shows with them. And then I got a call from someone else asking me for my portfolio. And I said, I don't have it. I said, cool. Meet the client. That was the first time. Come meet the client. So I'm meeting photographer for the first time. I don't even know how this whole thing works. So I went to this really famous brand and for saris. And so the client and the photographer, they're waiting for me. I reached and the client looked at the photographer and said, cannot take her. She's not going to be a fitting model for what we are looking for. I don't know from where the photographer had so much faith in me. He said, trust me. You come to this, give her one shot. Come to the studio tomorrow. But he has never met me himself. Okay. I think it's just how people see potential in you, right? He said, come to the studio tomorrow, have a look at her, and then you decide. So this was supposed to be a lookbook shoot. And then he said, yeah, okay, come to the studio. And so I went there, and of course they transformed with the sari and makeup and everything. And the client walked into the studio. He couldn't believe it was the same person.
Okay.
Because these guys obviously did their work on me. And I didn't know, when I went to meet the client, I didn't know how to dress up. I didn't know how to show up. What are they going to like? I didn't even think so much. I can tell now that I wasn't thinking so much. They said, come, I went. It's like, come over. Okay, show up. And then at that time, when it was just supposed to be like lookbook, they blew up that picture and put it in front of their store. And that's when it started for me. And this was even before I flew. So after flying, I knew that kind of helped me get a few opportunities. And then one after another, every time I did one assignment, I got 3 other assignments. And then it just built on its own because I see it was a part of my path.
In this journey, have you noticed a pattern where whenever you were never obsessed about the outcome, it just started to flow so easily in your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being obsessed with outcome can never help. Even if you do get the experience, the actual outcome, it doesn't help. You know why? Because we have traded so much of our time and playfulness and presence for an outcome. So when we actually enjoy the outcome, we are so disconnected from our presence and playful. We have forgotten what it is to do for so long that we are so attached to outcome that we are so in our head. So even if we actually enjoy it, there is a lot that you've traded, but you don't need to trade that. Because being attached to outcome does not mean we don't know the outcome.
Yes.
We can never know the outcome.
Yes.
So we may as well enjoy the process, but by being fully dedicated. Be dedicated, put your heart in it. Hustle if you need to, if that's your path, right? I can say, no, there is no such thing as hustle. But I have gone through different phases of hustling, not hustling. I don't think I hustle too much anyway. I like that balance. But if that's a part of your journey, who am I to tell you, don't hustle, you need to reconnect, you need to rewild. You'll be like, no way, I have a dream that's nothing close to yours. So this is needed for me. Then I can simply drop a reminder, hey, don't forget to connect with yourself. Now that can land. Like, yeah, okay, what do you mean now? What should I do? Present a couple of frameworks. Okay, I'm going to do this. Let's see how this can help me. So it's not about telling someone not to do something. Oh, don't be attached to outcome. Hey, but don't forget to be here. I'm enjoying your company. I'm enjoying your presence. It's amazing when you're, not thinking about it. A couple of days ago, I met someone who's so, this person had completely dedicated every ounce of energy and time towards a certain outcome. And that is still happening. It's still a process. But in that 1 hour of conversation somewhere, I heard this person say, wow, I've actually forgotten about this. And I was like, wow, that just feels so good. How does it feel for you? Wow, it feels really good to just... But of course, it's there at the back of the mind. But why does it feel so good when we take the weight off? Because the body or the inner self wants us to pause. It's always asking us to pause in such different ways, so presenting different opportunities. But if we keep then can only do so much, right? Then we have our eyes on, I gotta go this way. Go this way. This is the path. You already know the path. You know this is what you want to do. This is how much you want to work. Take a breath, look around you. That ultimately it's about asking, is this how you want to enjoy your life? Is this how I really want to enjoy my life? Where I've only spoken about, this is what I've done. I had a structure. I went with this. I hustled. Yeah, but did you look around you? Did you do something fun? Something out of the ordinary? What's extraordinary? Something out of the ordinary. Which means something out of what I usually do. Something out of the usual. So doing something that is not a part of the habit, but stopping to, let's say, as you walk up, stopping to compliment someone who works somewhere, or to do something that's just different because you're doing the same thing every day. We get so used to doing the same thing, we don't pause. And then we're just like, on a roll. But if we could constantly, consciously break out of it, not a lot, not by far, but just, that's beautiful. It immediately changes the energy. There is like a shift in the energy to be able to pause and to observe things that you haven't observed before.
And when you speak about like deflecting slightly from the mundane things that we do, some people thrive really well when they're disciplined, and some people thrive well when they're very spontaneous. So how do we find a balance between the two?
I feel like I'm such a good example for this, for my own self. I don't know about others, but for me, I have definitely struggled. This is one thing I've realized: being spontaneous has its pros and cons, right? Sometimes I feel like even being so present has its pros and cons. I have found myself so lost in track of time, wherever I am, that I've forgotten and the next appointment that I have. Now, how can I justify it? No one's going to listen to that. It would just seem disrespectful. So we need to plan in a way where I can allow myself to be present, set an alarm, show up. So setting an alarm is what? Discipline.
Discipline, yeah.
But me being in a state of flow is where I'm not thinking about it, but the alarm is there. The alarm is going to guide me, but I'm going to be in a state of flow. So now I'm not thinking about it. But if I'm thinking, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to go, what is the time? I don't want to look at the time. I just want to set an alarm and let go. Now I'm able to strike a balance between being spontaneous and having to show up for something. So that's a balance. Small practices. How could I bring in, if I'm feeling spontaneous, how could I bring in like one layer of discipline here? In order for me to perform, in order for me to expand my capacity. Like discipline is needed for meditation, and even in a practice as journaling, there's discipline that's needed. Yeah, I am spontaneous, but it's two things. It's like masculine and feminine energy coming in together for us to experience the best version of ourselves. So if I'm feeling so spontaneous, what is it that I can do to actually get me from here? Because I could just then go into a state where I don't want to do anything. No, I want something done. No. How can we say something needs to be done? If I've got to do it, I've got to get up and do it. Because I am my whole self. That's the choice that I have made, right? Then how do I do it? Bring in strands of discipline into spontaneity, and bring in strands of spontaneity into your disciplined life. Just bring in a little bit. It's not about balance. It's not 50-50. It could just be an introduction of something. You have like a tight schedule today. Then you tell someone who's working for you, hey, in my schedule, if you could just take 10 minutes for me. I feel like maybe just listening to music and moving my body.
And how did you get introduced to plant medicine?
Plant medicine. I love this. Okay. So I have heard some people talk about it. This was about a couple of years ago, where I've heard people talk about, and they did ayahuasca and it changed their life. Damn, what is this ayahuasca? I'm so curious, and I feel like I need to understand. I also have listened to some people talking about, this is not good for you, and this is only for, what is this, and how can you lose yourself? People have opinion, and that's okay. But I didn't do any research about it. I wanted to really see how it felt.
Yeah.
If I just asked around a few people that I knew, just to see, tell me what you feel about it. I wanted to know from somebody that I knew much more than like a blog, which is so beautifully, put together. I wanted like a raw conversation. So I met a couple of people when I was in Bali, and I asked them, but I got no sense of direction. And I heard a couple of them say, you will know when you have a calling.
That's true.
I said, fine. And so there were a couple of girls I met from um, Brazil, and we decided to do this together. It didn't align. So I said, okay, you know what? I've asked a lot of people, but I'm going to let it be, because there's no point in me saying I want to do this and trying to, because I'm not a very research, do this. It's not natural for me to do a research to find something. I feel like I will know, right? Like we all have a different approach.
Yes.
And so I remember meeting someone at the beginning of 23 last year. And this person went on a journey somewhere into Mexico. And in the middle of his journey, he got a message through Aya, from Abuela, through Aya, to get me to go, that it was time for me. And this person has no idea that about 1 year ago, when I was asking people, at some point I decided to stop. And I said, I kind of wrote a little letter to Abuela. Abuela is the grandmother, the medicine. I wrote a letter in my head and in my heart, and I said, you know what? Everyone says wait for a calling. I'm going to let you handle this. I said, you call, and I'm going to be there. That's surrendering, right?
Yeah.
So I'm surrendering for the calling. And that's what I did. And this person left a voice note saying, okay, you know, what is your time? And I couldn't be, because this person had no idea that I had this kind of I will wait for the calling. And for me, everything just, I don't know what more is a calling than this. This is the calling. And that's how I allowed myself to go into it. No research about the place, nothing. I just went with all of my heart. Now, this is not to encourage anybody to go without research. Listen to yourself. That is what I'm encouraging.
Yeah.
Listen to how you truly feel. Not about somebody did it, I have to do it.
And how was your experience?
Oh, it's beyond anything that I would have ever expected or ever heard of. Because when someone says, I had this experience, it transformed my life, it's still limited in my head, right?
Yes.
I can only imagine so much. But to be in that place and to understand, not to surrender as if there is nothing happening in your life, but to co-create with the messages we receive. To sit, it's almost as if you're sitting with the spirit giving you guidance.
Yeah.
And what transforms your life is not that experience. It's how we choose to integrate the messages that has come our way.
Yeah.
The tools that have been given to us, what has been told to us. But how it does create a shift instantly is all the limiting beliefs and the fear. Imagine pulling everything up and sitting together and laughing at it. It's crazy. It's so
It is.
You know how funny
Yes,
it is.
Yes, it is.
And then it looks like a cosmic joke. It's so funny. Oh my God, I can't believe I held myself back because I am acting as if I am something. Because it makes you realize you're nothing. You're like an ant in the forest.
Yeah.
And it's like the tree guiding you. Go this way. Oh my God, I'm an ant. I have to do. No. You're this being. You're a beautiful being. You're capable of doing so much. Yes, there is force flowing through you and everything. But still, going back to what I told you about what I learned when my father transitioned, everything is impermanent. That came back to me so strongly. In fact, in the form of experience through this. How has it been for you? I would love to know.
I did it in 2020, and very similar to your experience. I heard it from a friend and I had no second thoughts. I said, I want to do it. He said, are you sure? Do you want to do your research? I said, no, I don't want to do any research. I just feel like I want to do it. We did it together, and I had zero expectations. I'd prepared my body before that for around 1 month of like the proper dietary stuff. I'd prepared my body and I had zero expectations out of it. The only thing he told me was, Gayathri, no matter what happens, don't resist anything. Just surrender. I really did not understand what he said because he'd done the ceremony before also. So we went there, and evening it starts and you give in the ayahuasca and you're let for it to digest. 30 minutes in, the shaman is playing the music. The first time I asked my friend, explain to me your experience. He said, no matter what I explain, you will never be able to understand until you go through that. When I was going through that, I understood what he meant. And for me, I did 2 ceremonies back to back, post which I did combo. So the first ceremony, it felt like I was just thrown into something and I was falling down. And in my mind, the only question was, who are you if you're not Gayathri, if you're not born to these parents, if you don't have this identity, who are you beyond that? And I got really scared because I had to let go of the identity and I had to surrender. I was extremely scared to surrender. I just had to hold on to something, and I just sat like this and held on to my hair so strongly because I just needed some grip in this world. Then finally, it occurred to me, and the music and the shaman being around, it occurred to me saying, just let it go. Whatever shows up, let it show up. That's been a profound 4 hours journey for me, post which most people started to come back to normal seeing. But I was just sitting there and swaying left and right for almost 2.5 hours, and the shaman was sitting next to me. That's the day I understood Mother was inside and she was literally doing something with me. It was amazing. And the second ceremony happened after 1 day in the night, and my intention for that ceremony was I had a lot of difficulty challenges with my dad's relationship. So I wanted to heal that relationship. I went, I sat there, and all of a sudden, all my memories since my childhood started to pop up. When it started to pop up, I had no idea as to why this was happening and where it was leading me into. There was such profound realizations about my relationship with my dad and how he's always been there as a part of different lifetimes also. And at one point of time, this is something which still baffles me. I'm sitting here like at least 30 feet away from the shaman. I'm sitting here, and at one point of time, I'm crying so loudly. That man from there just says, shh. And I just become quiet like a child. And I knew at that point of time, I had angels and I had my guides around me, like literally could feel the physical presence. But I can't explain it. Life has never been the same after that. Immediately after that, there was COVID. And once I came back from the ceremony, I explained to my parents. My mother was like, what? I never told them I was getting into the ceremony. My dad was very curious to understand what it was. 4 days straight, I'm sitting in my balcony looking outside and just looking at the nature and thinking, what's the point of all of this? It makes no sense. It stayed with me for 4 days. I mean, that presence stayed with me for 4 full days. And after that, my level of introspection into who I am and the kind of quest I've been on ever since has been extremely strong. And that's why, so Nitin and I, so my husband does not really, he's not aware of a lot of things like this. I wouldn't say he has a lot of resistance. He's just not aware, and it does not excite him. So when I was talking to him, I told him, Nitin, before we have a child, I want to go for another ceremony because I believe I have a message from there. And back then, I think it was 2018, 2019, even before I did the first ceremony in 2020, I think it was in 2020 after I heard about the first ceremony. I heard about this place called Rhythmia, which was in Costa Rica, which is a very premium place for them to do the ceremonies. Back then, I was not earning so much money. This was a huge investment for me, travel and accommodation and everything. I put on my vision board saying, one day I will go there. And to my surprise, it's not my surprise. I mean, we're planning a child next year, but I've told Nitin, I want to go there before we have the child. I know there's a calling for me. There's some massive shift that is going to happen inside of me, and I really want to go there. And I'm going there in July.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful.
Pradaini, when we started, it's very difficult to find people who understand this and not take it in a sense where it is a psychedelic, it does this. No, it's very sacred. She does something to you, and you're way strongly connected to yourself, your purpose, and the earth after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. And especially when you say the parts where you can't explain. Yes, that's exactly what the feeling is. There are no words. Words are still limiting. if we were to try and describe the experience that we had there. It's the same with me, and I had such profound experience, and I feel like the medicine is still alive in me. Honestly, that's just how I feel.
Yes.
It's been about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say in any other way. I still feel it because I'm able to make choices and decisions. The way I connect with people has changed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge shift. And that happened instantly.
Yeah.
I remember I came out of the forest. I was in a forest. It was beautiful. My cuarenderos were beautiful. They were amazing. There were a couple. I love watching people in love. For me, it's just like, ooh, so good. And to have the two of them hold space for all of us was fantastic. Like, that's a gift. Everything is a gift, right? You go there, you receive it, but look at how it's orchestrated. You're able to see more and more and more beauty in it. Wow, that's phenomenal. The two of them were fantastic. The experience that I had, and I love how they shared this. There will be a lot of magic, but move through the magic and right into the heart of the medicine.
Yes.
Because the magic could keep you thinking, wow, this is great, that's great, this is beautiful, I saw this, I saw that. It's never about what you're seeing. It can keep you so fascinated, but go beyond that right into the heart of the medicine, so you're able to tap in to the wisdom within you. At some point, when I was asking the questions, I realized I became a witness. There was a completely different part of me asking the kind of questions, and I was just a witness because I never prepared to ask those questions. I didn't even think of those questions. So which part of me was asking that? Also, answers come through in riddles. They come direct. They come in such funny ways. They come in such profound ways. I experienced all of this. I sat through 5.
Wow.
5 of those. There were 6, but my 5th one was a completion because the medicine, the message that I got was, Sarah, you're done for now. Everything's been given to you. I had one more. It was booked, but I didn't go. I just sat there to receive my Ikaru, which is the healing song, but not to drink, because I was told strongly, everything's been given to you. Like, no more medicine for you. You are the medicine right now. So that was quite powerful for me to let go of the last one as well, because I'm there. I've gone so far. I have one more night, but I couldn't. I felt complete. I knew I needed to take this and see how it feels. It's not about what I'm going to become, really. Like, I think it's more about unbecoming.
Yes.
That whole thing of, oh, what am I going to become after this? That's just, everything is dissolved. All the things that I was afraid of, how people would judge me, everything's just dissolved and is still dissolving. Even if it's there, it's not there. It's like, it's there, but I pay attention to it. No, actually, it doesn't matter. And whatever I thought mattered doesn't matter so much. Mm-hmm. But I'm also able to hold space for myself into, unraveling and discovering about myself and this whole path of life. It's been beautiful. Thank you for holding space while I share this, because every time I talk about this, I feel so so deeply connected to this.
I can feel that energy here.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you.
And for everybody who's watching, what's your final message?
Final message. Everything begins with an intention. Stay connected with yourself, even if it's in small ways, every day. Not to ignore your inner world. Your inner world is as important as your outer world. In fact, much more. But stay connected to your inner world. It will take you on the kind of journey that's beyond words. So sit down every day. Even if it's just a few minutes, take that time to connect with yourself. Take time to pause.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Pradaini, this is definitely one of my most favorite conversations I've had on this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being in that state of flow. Thank you so much for holding that space, and thank you for being you.
Thank you. You're amazing. This whole comfort, you're so warm. You're such a warm being. It makes it so comfortable for me to be in a state of flow. If I'm in a state of flow, that's because you have reflected that to me, and you've awakened that part of me to be here. So I feel comfortable, the safe space, it's beautiful. Your questions were amazing. Although you said you had a lot of other things, but you got into a state of flow yourself. It's beautiful to see your studio, and I love how you set up your little massage chair there. I love it when it was offered to me. That shows how much of attention you pay to the smallest of detail when it comes to taking care of yourself. And it's been a pleasure being here, and it's so beautiful connecting with you. So wonderful to finally meet you and to share all of this. And yeah, this is beautiful. I'm so deeply grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Much love.